This is a special presentation of TV50 Sports. Meet the Pirates. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Meet the Pirates. You know, here at TV50 Sports, we brought you a lot of live sporting events over the last several months. University of Lowell hockey, New Hampshire college basketball, high school sports. And there have been several common threads running through all of these games. The amateur athlete, the special excitement generated by the fans and the student body. But now, as the weather gets warmer, all of us begin to look outside. Tennis, golf, swimming, running, they all look so inviting. And then there's the one special thing that makes a New England winter worth waiting through: baseball. And here at TV50 Sports, we have Nashua Pirates baseball for you this season. And these are no longer amateur athletes. These are the guys hoping someday to make it to the big leagues, the glamorous ballparks, the first-class lifestyle. But in order to get there, they have to start here. Let's go out to the ballpark. Life in the minors, is it as rough as we're all led to believe?
Well, you know, I've been there before, and I'm there again. So, you know, you go out there and you play baseball, the thing you like to do. And the only difference is there's not as many people in the seats, and instead of flying, you bus, and instead of the Marriott, you stay at the, you know, Sixpence Inn or wherever we stay on the road. But you deal with those things. As long as you're out there playing baseball, you know, as long as you have a uniform on, you have a shot.
Andy Rincon was the National League Player of the Week when he first came up with the St. Louis Cardinals in 1980, but during the '81 season, he was hit on the arm by a Phil Garner line drive, and now after parts of 3 seasons in the big leagues, he's trying to get back. Rincon is one of 2 Nashua Pirates with Major League experience. The other is left-hander Jeff Little, who spent time both with the Cardinals and the Minnesota Twins.
It's a lot more fun playing in the big leagues. The conditions are great. You know, everything's great in the big leagues. My family doesn't want me to play anymore, and it makes it tough for me to come back here and sort of start over again. But, you know, I'll give it one more shot, and that's all I can do.
For Rincon and Little, Nashua is exactly that, one more shot. You never know how many chances you'll get to prove you belong in the majors. Rincon and Little want to take advantage of this one. But for the rest of the Nashua Pirates, many of the younger players, the immediate goal is to impress, to improve, to move another step up the ladder to the AAA club in Hawaii. But it isn't too early for some of these guys to think about the majors. Rafael Belliard played AA ball all last year for the Lynn Pirates before they moved to Nashua, and this year Belliard is with Pittsburgh. Which is more frustrating, having once reached your goal and then slipping back, wondering if you'll ever get another chance, or wondering if you will ever reach that goal at all? The struggle constant, the future uncertain. When we come back, more with the players, the manager, the front office, as Meet the Pirates continues.
Your new Better Homes and Gardens came.
Oh, great, John. You can read it first. But before you do, could you take the pie out of the oven?
What pie? When did you make 2 pies? You know, she's really something. She was always a great cook, and now she has a lot of new ways to be great. With this free cookbook we got with our subscription to Better Homes and Gardens, the magazine that brings the best ideas to life for our whole family. And it can for you, too.
John!
You want me to set the table?
With the good silverware, please.
Let me guess, Elaine, we're having company.
Oh, just some friends.
Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. You'll be amazed at what Better Homes and Gardens has in store for you. Decorating ideas for every room in your house. Design bedrooms, basements, kitchens, and dens. Capture the old, the new, or a blend of the two. Plus craft ideas you can create and share with your entire family. And the best ideas don't stop at the back door. Raise everything from tulips to wildflowers in your own backyard or in your own greenhouse. What's more, there are recipes especially for husbands. It's all here in Better Homes and Gardens. And in a minute, there will be a toll-free number on your screen. Call it for your subscription to Better Homes and Gardens and your free cookbook. I'll get it.
Happy birthday, honey.
Better Homes and Gardens, where the best ideas come to life for your home and your family.
Call now, 1-800-321-5300 for 12 issues of Better Homes and Gardens at just $12.97. Plus old-fashioned country recipes free with your paid subscription. It has 52 pages, full-color photographs, and over 75 delicious recipes. Call 1-800-321-5300 now.
Minor league baseball is kind of like on-the-job training. You're a professional, you're being paid to play, but in the minors, you're also being paid largely to learn the routines that hopefully become good habits for the future. A player can come into baseball with all the raw skills, and that helps. But it's the player who improves, who develops his talent, who's likely to move up. Outfielder Jim Opie played single-A ball in Alexandria last year, and for this season, he was moved up to double-A. Can you see the differences already between your caliber of competition last year and what you've seen this year so far?
Yeah, most of the differences in the pitching. You're going to see, breaking balls 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, as opposed to, when you get into A ball, you're going to see 2-0 fastballs, maybe occasional changes, but, it's a breaking ball league, slider, 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 so, that's, every pitcher looks like they're out of the same mold, so I guess it's something you're going to have to get used to.
One of the biggest attractions about baseball is the history of the game, the players, the great ones and the obscure, and everyone in between, the memorable games, and also the legends. Well, Jim Opie hasn't made the big leagues yet, but he does have a legend already. One day, while the Pirates were at their spring training headquarters in Bradenton this year, Opie went over to the field where the parent club was to play the New York Mets. Not being one of the more familiar Pirate faces in camp, that's where Opie's troubles began.
I was in uniform working out, and then word came over that Morrison got hurt, so I did. I just drove, 2 minutes across town, and tried to get in. And the attendant, I didn't have the sheet with my number on at the park. So they tried to make me pay $2. I didn't have $2 on me, so I just said, hey, whatever, I gotta go. But and it got stretched, I paid, and all sorts of things. But, the B squad was going to go over there in another 20 minutes anyway, so, it wasn't that big of a deal, but, it's a good story, I guess.
Opie did play in that game, going 2 for 4, including a home run off Mike Torres. A player who has impressed the Pittsburgh organization is Bobby Bonilla, a switch-hitting center fielder. Bonilla has been converted from playing the infield. Switching positions is not uncommon in the minors. There's been a lot, of course, written and said about you, about your potential prospect. I'm sure you've heard all the talk. Do you ever think about that at all? You try and put it out of your mind?
I try not to. I try to put it out of my mind. Yeah, but they're nice compliments. I mean, it's really nice. The compliments are great, so I really can't complain.
What do you do to push yourself after you read something like that and you say, well, maybe this is a sure thing?
No, it's not a sure thing. Nothing's a sure thing. But you do have an incentive, I went to big league camp this year, and I really enjoyed myself, and I really want to get there, so there's my incentive. I want to get there. I want to get to the big leagues.
Got a taste of it?
This spring I had a taste of it, and it was fun. I enjoyed myself out there, and I'm looking forward to doing this 10 years.
Bonilla isn't the only major league prospect on the Nashua roster, though. 19-year-old catcher Ruben Rodriguez already grades out as a solid defensive player. Second baseman Rich Renteria got off to a good start offensively this season, hitting .300 in the early going. And right-handed pitcher Pete Rice, who played the outfield until 2 years ago, has had his fastball clocked at more than 90 miles an hour. And he hasn't forgotten how to hit yet either, with 2 home runs early in the year, one of them an extra inning game winner. And this year, like any other, there will be those players who surprise, who come on during the year, others who may disappoint. But whether a guy is a former major leaguer hoping to work his way back, or a so-called surefire prospect, or even a marginal player with limited ability just trying to keep his dream alive, there is a common theme among all of them: optimism.
After a long spring training, everyone's, happy to get the season started and get going, and, I'm no exception.
I'm just glad they found a spot for me somewhere to play, so I'm just happy to go out there and play every day.
I've learned in the last 5 or 6 years that there are 25 other ball teams. and there's always somebody looking for a left-hander, especially a short man out of the bullpen. So I'm just going to stick around as long as I possibly can. Somebody's going to want me, and if I throw the ball well, then I'm in there, I hope.
I've you know, gone out there and thrown 100, 120 pitches. I've been going 8 innings every time out, and I'm just building up some endurance, and hopefully they'll need somebody in Pittsburgh, and I'll go up there and help them.
Do you think it's helping you to be going through this all in a new organization other than the one you started with, maybe kind of a new beginning type thing?
Yeah, it was time for me to move on. I had a good time in St. Louis. I was there for 7 years, and I have no regrets about anything I did or what they did. It was fun. You know, I experienced some success in the big leagues, and hopefully I'll do that again with Pittsburgh.
They told me, you know, working hard in this league, try to win a couple games for my, you know, for my team. So they moved me to AAA or big league. You know, they told me you never know what's going on, so keep doing your job.
Fernando Gonzalez is one of several players on the Nashua roster from the Dominican Republic, and he says he already feels very much at home on this club, and the transition is easier with several of his countrymen here. Pittsburgh Pirates minor league director Branch Rickey is the grandson of the man who broke baseball's color barrier by bringing Jackie Robinson to the Brooklyn Dodgers, and there's nothing especially new about the Pirates scouting new areas for potential major league talent. But they're not alone anymore.
We got in there first. The truth being known, which it is very well now. We got in there first, but it's no longer valid that the Pirates are exploiting their private vein of gold in Latin America. The competition there is growing by the year, and it's already enormous now. We have been fortunate to be able to survive as well as we have. And so hopefully if we don't get the quantity, we can still get the quality. The Roberto Clemente background. My family had just left the Dodgers the year before, and when Clemente came in, it was because of the awareness of my father as minor league director and my grandfather of Clemente's ability. And yes, it does seem to be a continuing thread of the development process for me. And I enjoy it. I lived down in Venezuela for a couple of years and am comfortable in Spanish, so I don't feel isolated from the Latin players. And I get a great deal of fun seeing the variety in our organization, the spectrum of personalities and habits and so forth. It's refreshing to be around these kids.
It seems like only yesterday when Curt Flood started baseball's free agent era, to the point now where we can talk about millions of dollars in salaries almost as if they were insignificant. There are some clubs, though, like the Baltimore Orioles and the Pirates, who have tried to stay faithful with their farm systems, developing players. But surely it must be tempting watching other teams just go out and buy pennants.
Sure, you can. It's going to cost you a tremendous amount of money, the outlay and initial bonuses and so forth. But I think we've seen the pendulum swing back a little bit, the readjustment of the clubs who have those players that are talented have started making sure they don't stray away. So the amount of talent on the free agent re-entry draft scene is not what it was 7, 8 years ago. Now, if you would be a new franchise with a multi-million-dollar fund to go out and buy those free agents, I think you'd find that pool is dried up some. So it looks like our expansion of our minor league system, adding a club on last year as we did, and the number of players we're carrying may be the right direction for us to go.
In just a minute, we'll have more on Meet the Pirates, a talk with the manager, Bill Scripture.
Don't you have a dream boat? Now you can make that dream come true with a low-interest boat loan from St. Mary's Bank. St. Mary's is a credit union, and that means you get quick approval on your loan at much lower interest rates than at most banks. Get the St. Mary's difference, a low-interest boat loan from St. Mary's Bank. St. Mary's Bank, where you make the difference every day. 200 McGregor Street, Manchester. Launch your dream boat with a low-interest loan from St. Mary's Bank. See a St. Mary's boat loan specialist today.
Here at the Toyota store in Exeter, it's a buyer's market 52 weeks a year. We currently have a good selection of Toyota cars and trucks to choose from, all backed up by our award-winning service department. We're conveniently located on Portsmouth Avenue near the Route 51 bypass in Exeter.
We're the oldest Toyota dealership in the Seacoast. Come see us for your new Toyota car, van, or truck, or quality used car at the Toyota store, Portsmouth Avenue, Exeter, New Hampshire.
Number 30 is Nashua Pirates manager Bill Scripture. Several years back, Scripture walked away from baseball, leaving his previous experience with the Baltimore and Kansas City minor league systems behind to take some time for himself and do some things he hadn't had time for, like going out on the professional skeet and trap shooting tour.
I got out of baseball to do some things I personally wanted to do that involved a lot of travel and a lot of time on my own. I accomplished a lot of things I wanted to do, and of course, once you get involved in baseball, you never really get it out of your system if you have a certain type of baseball makeup. So I just wanted to get back, and the opportunity came up with Pittsburgh, and I like Pittsburgh, and I like the people. Very good people to work for, good, honest people, and I just looked upon it as a good opportunity to get back with a real good organization, and so I did so.
During his previous incarnation in baseball, Scripture became known for his somewhat unusual exploits, like laying down bunts with his chest when he thought his players might be afraid of the ball, or like tearing the cover off a baseball with his teeth, or like breaking a bat by twisting it with his bare hands. So has 5 years out of the game mellowed Bill Scripture at all?
I have a wholesome, active, aggressive attitude toward the game. I feel like I know the game inside and out. I think I know people. I certainly know myself. I'm not boring. I do not look upon myself as being zany or flaky or anything else. Basically, I'm mentally sound. I think I know what I'm doing, and I've studied the baseball a long time, talked to a lot of good people, but sometimes when you're out here 140 days in a row, you get a little stale, and sometimes you just like to put a little spice into it. To me, baseball has always been fun. It's I can have fun, and I can still concentrate on what I'm doing. I do not have to be what you call channel vision or tunnel vision into one spot all the time. I can do a lot of things at one time, and my mind is able to comprehend a lot of things and digest a lot of information at one time. And based on this, a lot of times I appear to be a little loose and a little more relaxed than most people doing what I'm doing, but that's just me, you know, and I'm happy and I enjoy doing it, and I've had a lot of success at what I've done, and I'm pretty satisfied with my approach to baseball.
With his relaxed style, Scripture would seem to be a player's manager, with a personal touch added to the manager's mystique. But he also knows his job here is not only to relate to the players, but also to develop their talent and assess their progress.
I think we can accurately pinpoint a guy's ability at this league. Sometimes an A-ball, rookie league ball, the guy hadn't played a lot, he hadn't made any adjustments, so sometimes we can't do that as good as we'd like to do. But at this level, I'd say by the middle of the season, after a guy plays 50, 60, 80 games against this type of competition, certainly we can see where a player needs to progress further. We find out where his weaknesses are, but we can pretty much pinpoint a guy at this level as to his future potential. We basically are all oriented to player development. And in terms of player development, we try to play people in the right positions. We try to make it possible where the players play a lot of baseball. In other words, they play day in, day out. We try not to set people too long. We want our pitchers pitching, and we want our players playing. And in the area of player development, we try to teach the game properly, try to teach them the fundamentals here that they will take with them to AAA and on to the major leagues. We try to teach them a style of baseball that won't change next year or change when they get to the major leagues. Have a little bit of continuity from club to club, and we do that well. Pittsburgh does that real well. They believe in player development. In other words, they're not interested in going out and buying a franchise or buying a pennant. We acquire players. We will get into the free agent area. We will do things to help our ball club, but we don't depend on that alone. We depend on player development. We depend on good scouting, good managing, and building our own players and making our system strong. Now, this not only helps us get our players to the major leagues, but it also helps us to increase our players' ability to the point that they may be able to be traded for a better player. In other words, we have a lot of organizations that are interested in our players, and generally that tells you how strong your organization is in terms of talent and prospects. If you got a lot of organizations that want your players, then that interest or that market interest will tell you that you've got players that can play.
All right, the game starts now.
Yeah.
How does Bill Scripture's personality change? Would you consider yourself a more conservative type manager? Will you take some chances? How do you play the game?
I take a lot of chances. I take a lot of chances based on our abilities and the defensive abilities. I like an exciting type of aggressive baseball. We run a lot, we steal a lot. We do a lot of things on the field and without any fear of failing. And we're not afraid to initiate things and do things. So I'm definitely not conservative, but I'm not reckless. There's a calculated risk in everything we do based on what we know about our own players as well as the defensive players.
The game itself is the time of least worry for Scripture. He considers himself more of a people manager than a baseball manager.
Anybody that knows anything about baseball basically can bunt and hit and run and steal and manage and do all the things on the field. You do not have to be a real good baseball person to do these things. You have to be aware, you have to study, but everybody can do that. I think the real importance of a manager in any level is to be able to relate to the players' problems and to be able to keep those guys together and have a good mix of personalities and a good blend of ideas and communication. And I think this is where people fail in the people business, and especially in baseball management. Like I said, anybody can go on the field and run a ball game. That's the least of my problems is when the ball game starts. That is the fun part because it really is easy. There's just not too much to it.
The emphasis on the people as well as the game itself is a common theme when you talk to members of the Pirates organization. Nashua business manager Mark McCormick worked in the same capacity with the Nashua Angels last year. What are some of the differences that you've noticed so far that the change has now taken place officially?
Well, you know, to me the most obvious difference is just the interest that the Pirates have in their farm system. They keep in close contact with us. Branch Rickey, the minor league director, has visited Nashua, is in town for the first 10 games of the home season. They really keep close tabs. It seems that they really put some pride and a lot of effort into the development of players. They go out and draft a lot of young ball players. It seems that we have a younger team than we did with the Angels, and in that case, it makes them seem a little more hungry and a little more desire. The Pirates like to take someone and have them from day one, rather than getting a college player. They like to go out and get a high school player and have them in the system for 4 or 5 years before they get to the big leagues. They don't like to go for too many free agents. They'd rather spend the time in the development system, and it's been successful for them. And you can really see it just in the way their club runs and the contact they keep with them, that they really care about the farm system. Last year, our first year in Nashua, we were affiliated with the California Angels. We had a 1-year contract with them, and that contract simply was that they would supply us the players to play in the Eastern League. At the conclusion of the season, we looked back and reflected on how things went, and it was a real successful year off the field. The fans in southern New Hampshire really came out and supported us, and we had a real good time. We thought we had a lot of fun, and we were a success. But on the field, the Angels quite didn't live up to our expectations. It seemed that their farm system has been in a bit of a down period. They've tended to go towards the free agents, and we began to look around and let it be known throughout the baseball circles that we'd be interested in acquiring another affiliate.
1984 is the first of a 3-year agreement between Nashua and the Pirates. We'll be back in just a minute with more on Meet the Pirates, including an update on Andy Rincon and Jeff Little, the 2 guys who have been there before and are trying to make it back to the major leagues.
Pardon me, isn't this Light 92.5 FM WLYT? I understand you people don't talk much. So you don't sound like those hyped-up disc jockeys you hear all the time. But you do have just the right amount of news, weather, and sports. And I'll bet you play just about the best light rock anywhere. Light 92.5 FM. Listen to Light Rock Less Talk now.
The fun, all the shows A to Z and the facts. What's behind what you see? TV Guide, the whole world of TV. That's entertainment. The stars underneath all the glow and the news from the people who know TV Guide. It's a fabulous show. So buy TV Guide and read TV Guide. That's entertainment.
The Pirates have had a strange month of May. A 3-game winning streak early brought them above 500, but they've struggled since then, mostly because of defensive lapses and a team-wide batting slump. But the consensus is that this team will be among the better clubs in the league by the end of the season.
Every player on our club has a high desire level. I think we have a high level of achievement that we want to attain, and we have a working, happy group of players, and this is important. Ability-wise, we can hit. Although we haven't, we will hit before it's all over with. We have a good pitching staff, our defense is good, and we have a good base running club.
We have pretty good hopes for some of the players on this team, so maybe I had expected them to get off to a better start. But coming here and seeing them now and seeing the weather conditions and seeing them just settle in, I think things are going pretty well.
Earlier in the show, we were telling you about Andy Rincon and Jeff Little, 2 former major leaguers trying to work their way back up the ladder. Well, things happen quickly in the minor leagues sometimes. After we taped Meet the Pirates, Andy Rincon was called up to the AAA Hawaii Islanders in the Pacific Coast League, just 1 step away from completing his comeback. For Jeff Little, the news was not good. He was given his release and went back home to Toledo, Ohio to wait for a phone call. Such is the life of a minor league ball player, on the brink of success and of failure. We hope you'll join us throughout the season for Nashua Pirates baseball. For Meet the Pirates, I'm Doug Brown. Good night, everybody. Meet the Pirates has been a special taped presentation of TV 50 Sports. Stay tuned next for Nashua Pirates baseball.
Personally, some guys don't like that. Some guys like to throw in every 4th day, 5th day.
10-4.